Okay, and finally, new rule. Someone must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talk about doubling down on what got you fucked in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses. We know they are stupid, just don't say it.
Well, 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 and look where we're at today. We are on Real Time with Bill Maher, and look at him going off on the liberals and the leftists who continue their ranting and raving about Trump's massive election victory earlier this month. And yeah, Bill Maher is an interesting character. Now, I don't watch late night comedians or political commentators like Bill Maher. I've lived outside the United States, as you know, for many, many years. Since, well, I've been living in this country, in Western Europe, since 1990. So I'm not really in touch. I know of Bill Maher, and he seems to be kind of a liberal in the vein, probably of my parents, kind of an old school, pro-union, liberal type, maybe a bit more libertarian leaning. That's kind of the idea I get. Kind of a real world liberal, let's say. So I have seen him, take liberals to task and leftists to task, and I've seen him come down on the ridiculousness of trans athletes and all that kind of thing. And it looks like here he is going to be talking shit about some of the leftists and liberals who have been melting down since Trump's election. So let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, I got bad news for you. They don't have a monopoly on stupid. You wear Queers for Palestine t-shirts. And
now that's interesting. Sorry for the interruption so quickly. Notice how his audience didn't really laugh so much at that one. So he might have some trouble in this show. Let's see what happens.
Masks 2 years after the pandemic ended. And you can't define woman, I mean person who menstruates. You're the teachers'
audience didn't have much to say about that.
Union education party, and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person.
See, he has to give a little bait to his audience there, you know. Say Trump is crazy, which is obviously not true.
You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bullshit. The Democratic polling firm Blueprint told Democrats months ago that black voters, AKA their supposedly liberal base, were more likely to find the president too liberal than too conservative. They also found that voters didn't just want Harris to distance herself from Biden, they wanted her to distance herself from what they believe the entire Democratic Party has become, a Portlandia sketch.
I have to interrupt here because I was born and raised in Portland, Oregon. And of course, that was a long time ago. I was born in 1965, so I was a kid in the 70s in Portland and graduated high school in the early 80s. But there was always that element of Portlandia there, but it just went completely off the rails after I left in the 90s. And then ever since, it's literally beyond a Portlandia sketch now. It's just descended into chaos and you know, heartbreak and dirt and filth. But yeah, it's nice to see him mention that.
A bunch of privileged mean girls complaining about privilege and trying to make fetch happen. What a shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race and sex see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Yes, if only we weren't so irredeemably unenlightened, we would have elected a black president by now. Oh, what, we did? Oh, oh, right, and then re-elected him. Maybe you missed it because it wasn't on TikTok. And sexism, Hillary got 3 million more votes than Trump, which in a normal country would be called a victory.
Oh, by the way, yeah, he brings up a lot of things here because, of course, there's going to be a push now to abolish the Electoral College, which was set up for a very good reason. I'm already seeing the memes, the same memes that came out when Trump won in 2016. You know that Wyoming, each electoral vote in Wyoming counts for 5 times or 10 times as much as a vote in California, or sorry, each personal vote counts for 5 times or 10 times as much as a vote in California, something like that. And there's other memes. Oh yes, you know, land doesn't vote, people do. Yeah, that's the whole reason we have the Electoral College. You idiotic liberals, these people, they just don't seem to understand that there are real people in the middle, in the flyover states, as they call them, who are the ones who actually build, they actually build, operate, maintain the infrastructure of the country and provide the food for the country. And yeah, they deserve to have a much bigger percent. They deserve to have their votes count for much more than just would be indicated by the population of their state. That was built into the system as one of the many checks and balances to ensure the majority does not rule as a tyranny over the minority.
It wasn't It wasn't 21st century sexism that prevented a woman from being president. It was the Electoral College. Democrats run for office as if the voters don't live here, as if they don't go to the grocery store and Starbucks and the office, but they do. They live here, and they actually see women and people of color, and it doesn't look like some patriarchal racist nightmare. Do problems remain pertaining to racism and sexism? Of course. But a poll last year asked, if America is the greatest country in the world, more blacks and Hispanic Americans agreed with that than the white progressives.
Look at that chart. It looks like I'm going to be stopping a lot on this video. Look at that chart. Look at all the Hispanics and blacks that agree with the statement, America is the greatest country in the world, and white progressive, of course not. And where would these, try this experiment sometime. Get into a conversation with a progressive or a leftist or a liberal, you know, someone who's like hating on America, and say, oh, yeah, I see what you mean. You know, what country would you rather live in? And invariably, they'll probably say something like, oh, well, Norway or Sweden, you know, they have all these, because they love the Scandinavian countries, because they have such a great social welfare system. But in reply, say, oh, I see, you prefer to live in a whiter country. I got that from someone, I can't remember where. It's brilliant.
It asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. It asked if government should increase border security. Same result. Hispanic Americans are less okay with illegal immigration than whitey. The votes are in. They don't want your pity. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them. Black people, they're just like us. Kamala spent 100 days telling voters, I know it feels like crime and illegal immigration are bad, but fuck your feelings. Look at this chart. Yes, there's a lot to not like already about the new regime, but maybe take 1 week to ask what you did wrong. The basis for Democratic campaigns has become, we're the smart people. That we know from the get-go. No need to look into that. We know that a priori, which is a Latin phrase the Red Hat people wouldn't have a clue about. But they don't need to. Have you seen my "In this house we believe" lawn sign?
Oh, Jesus. God, I have to stop again. I remember the first time I saw this when I was visiting Portland years ago. And I took a picture of myself. I was just out taking a walk in one of the neighborhoods where my sister lives. And what more can you say? This is just, if leftism were a yard sign, if liberalism were a yard sign. Oh my God.
See, it says right on it, we believe in science. Right, which is why you demanded no one even debate whether COVID could have escaped from the one lab in the one city where they were studying it. How far-fetched. The New York Times called it racist. Democrats have become like a royal family that, because of so much incest, has unfortunately had children who are retarded. And the same thing can happen to ideas if they are also conceived in an atmosphere of intellectual incest. Maybe take the clothespins off your noses and actually converse with the other half of the country. Stop screaming at people to get with the program and instead make a program worth getting with.
Well, pretty harsh words there from Bill Maher about the Democrats and liberals in general. Yeah, I'm not holding my breath, but I'll see if anybody in my family is willing to hold their nose and talk to me about my political convictions, because they've made it very clear over the years that they do not want to hear what I have to say. I've said, if you've watched any of my other videos, you might have heard me say that I am a complete outlier in my entire extended family. I'm the only one who you could call conservative. I don't even like the word conservative anymore because I think conservatives are useless. They don't conserve a damn thing. They can't even conserve the woman's, the ladies' room, for God's sake. But maybe traditionalist, paleo conservative, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'd be interested. I don't bring up politics at all with my family. Let's see if any of them who watch Bill Maher come to me and see if they want to have an honest, open conversation. I'm not holding my breath. Anyway, let me know what you think of this. This is an interesting clip. I'm probably going to watch the whole show just to see, later, just to see what else Bill Maher has to say, and to get some more of those very tepid rounds of applause from his audience who didn't seem to really like what he was saying. They only liked what he was saying when he, when he criticized Trump and the Republicans and things like that, and the red hats, as he called them. But they don't seem to like him, laying down some tough love there. They don't seem to like it. Maybe they'll come around. We'll see. And we'll see how long Bill Maher's, realistic and pragmatic attitude lasts. But in the meantime, feel free to leave some comments. I do look through the comments. I can't reply to them all, of course, but I do try to reply to some, especially the more interesting ones or more valuable ones. But it really helps. I do like to hear from you. And in the meantime, like and subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel and continue making content for you.